Okay, Mr. President. So we use the State of the Union message. We prepare them for crisis. We're hitting hard about Cuba.
Yes, but we don't want them to think we are preparing them for the worst. We need something hopeful as well, something more inspiring, uplifting.
Hope.
The hopes of all mankind rest upon us, not simply upon those of us in this chamber. Yes, that's very good.
And the FDR quote for the ending?
In the words of a great president whose birthday we honor today, closing his final State of the Union message 16 years ago, we pray that we may be worthy of the unlimited opportunities that God has given us. Yes, it's very good for the ending.
Maybe we should use it for the opening.
No.
Why?
No, it's too sentimental. It's much better at the end.
That's good. Okay, we've got an ending, we've got a middle. How do we open?
We've got a problem.
Maybe we should use something warmer. Say, you are my oldest friends in Washington, and this house is my oldest home.
All right, that's not bad. Congress may be sentimental, but I don't want them thinking I am.
Not too sentimental.
I'm going to keep them so busy they won't know what hit them. Let's go on.
And more on Cuba?
Yes, let's hit hard about the communists there. Communist agents just a little way from our shore.
We need a concrete image. 90 miles from our shores.
All right, very good. Then we'll work in something about domestic tyranny, foreign tyranny. You'll have to work that out on your own, Dad.
Leave it with me.
Yes. Good morning, Mrs. Warren. Very well, thank you. Yourself? Very satisfying.
Oh, hi, Ted. How are you?
Morning.
Kindly give the Chief Justice my warmest regards and thanks again. All right, bye-bye.
Hi.
Hi.
How's the speech?
Very gloomy.
Well, so long as it isn't dull. Be yourself. Just give them that smile.
It's hard to smile when you're about to nail Castro to the wall.
Well, Congress needs a smile. If you make them feel good, you can tell them anything. You like this picture? I thought a naval theme would be appropriate in here, captain of the ship and all that.
Very well.
Did I keep pets here in the White House? Oh, maybe it was termites.
What's that?
Something has eaten the wood of this floor.
Oh, no. That's from his golf shoes.
In here?
Yes. After he had the green put in, he used to put on his shoes in here and go out and practice his putting when there wasn't anything else to do.
Well, I don't believe it. I don't believe old Mamie's pink frills upstairs and that horrible Grand Rapids furniture. Now, I was thinking of doing our rooms, the family rooms, in blue. Various shades of blue and white furnishings. Would you like that?
Sure, whatever you like. Why don't you draw up some plans?
Well, I have been making plans to totally renovate this house, absolutely and completely.
Jackie, don't go crazy.
It's a question of staying sane. And it's very important, Jack. I mean, I was shocked to see how this house has been allowed to deteriorate over the years. I don't think anybody's ever lived here at all.
How much is all this going to cost?
Well, it won't be cheap. Well, the White House is not a bargain basement. Well, maybe it is now. But it won't be when I'm finished with it.
Where are you going?
Do you endorse the Cuba plan?
I do.
Do you also advocate and believe it, Mr. Bissell?
I do.
So why do you suppose the President's had you come here to inform me of the position right now?
He wants to be sure of the legal position.
Well, it's obviously questionable. The Pentagon's approved it at a subordinate level.
It's been approved by the Joint Chiefs of Staff.
You mean endorsed?
Endorsed, yes. And they predict success.
Yeah. So what if the President vetoes the plan?
That's a political decision. The plan is solid, we're strong, we have the training camps, the brigade. If it's stopped, they'll come home to a really savage reception from the exiles in Miami. They'll say we're soft on Castro, soft on communism. And the president, you recall the Nixon debates? He pledged support to the Cuban freedom fighters.
What makes you so sure of success, Mr. Bissell?
Failure is a possibility, it always is.
Yes. What if the invasion fails?
Okay. The men become subversives, guerrillas. This is the last time we will ever have a chance to infiltrate Cubans into Cuba.
Out of 3, what chance is there of success? I am talking about eliminating Castro.
Out of 3.
Out of 3.
2.
2 out of 3. All right. We'll play on your team.
This is a historic occasion. To remind those who have just joined us, the 35th President of the United States, John Fitzgerald Kennedy, will now deliver his State of the Union message, his first before the joint session of Congress here in Washington.
He won't better the inaugural.
Mr. Speaker, Mr. Vice President, members of the Congress, it is a pleasure to return from whence I came. You are among my oldest friends in Washington, and this house is my oldest home. I speak today in an hour of national peril and national opportunity. To state the facts frankly is not to despair the future, nor indict the past. The prudent heir takes careful inventory of his legacies and gives a faithful accounting to those whom he owes an obligation of trust. And while this occasion does not call for another recital of our blessings and assets, we do have no greater asset than the willingness of a free and determined people, through its elected officials, to face all problems frankly and meet all dangers free from panic or fear.
That's okay.
In Latin America, communist agents seeking to exploit that region's peaceful revolution of hope have established a base on Cuba, only 90 miles from our shore.
Why don't they dissolve?
Is not over the people's
I don't know.
desire for a better life.
Well, what's the point of technical services making pills to poison a guy if they won't even dissolve in water?
They've killed a number of monkeys.
Castro's not a monkey. He's an ape.
Same effect on humans. It'll wipe him right out. Giancana can get access to Castro. It's cheap.
How cheap?
I paid $50,000.
Let's be realistic. Pushing poison into Castro's nightcap is one of the craziest things I've ever heard of. How far has this thing gone?
Some hooker's got the pills. Castro snores. His mouth drops open. She slips one down his throat.
Has someone taken leave of their senses?
No, we have a general capability that includes assassination.
Called what exactly?
Executive action.
On the presidential coat of arms, the American eagle holds in his right talon the olive branch, while in his left he holds a bundle of arrows. We intend to give equal attention to both.
That's right.
The president likes the spirit of a World War II operation. He was a war hero.
Does he know about all this poison stuff?
Not about the poison, no.
And if he asks?
But he's not going to ask if I'm having Castro poisoned.
If he does ask?
He won't. He bought our invasion hook, line, and sinker, he told me. But if he does ask, well, we'll just say it's another option. You know our commander-in-chief, he likes to have options.
For as I said upon taking the oath of office, only when our arms are sufficient beyond doubt can we be certain beyond doubt that they will never be employed. The hopes of all mankind rest upon us, not simply upon those of us in this chamber, but upon the peasant in Laos, the fisherman in Nigeria.
Stay here.
The exile
Listen to
in
the
Cuba.
president.
The spirit that moves every man and nation who shares our hopes for freedom and the future.
I want you to hear this.
And
This
in
is
the
better
final
than the
analysis,
inaugural.
They rest most of all upon the pride and perseverance of our fellow citizens of the great republic. In the words of a great president, whose birthday we honor today, closing his final state
Now,
of
why the hell
message,
spoil it by dragging in FDR?
we pray that we may be worthy of the unlimited opportunities that God has given us.
He only mentioned God.
FDR, not G.O.D. Rose Fitzgerald Kennedy. Let's not forget that. What did you think?
It was extraordinary, Mr. Kennedy.
Think the people will like it?
Yes, sir. We have tough times ahead.
Now, that's one of the best damn things I've heard today. I'm right. Oh, leave it on, Rose. There's a soap opera I want to watch.
That's very attractive, Bill.
Thank you. This is very good, though.
It is, isn't it? We brought that with us. I think the only thing we found in these cellars is a subterranean lake of turtle soup. and crates of parsley potato balls.
What are you going to do with them?
What, with the potato balls?
Mm-hmm.
Invite the women's press corps in for lunch, I guess.
Could start a new line in White House souvenirs. Parsley potato balls, fresh from the new frontier.
Yes, we could do that. Just so long as we get rid of them, along with all that other stuff we're being sent for John. At last count, I think there was something like 5,000 pairs of pale blue baby booties. I'm not kidding. Oh, here's something you'll like. We were sent an embroidery from someone in Tallahassee featuring farm animals doing some very exotic things.
What?
Oh, I'm not going to tell you.
Could I see it?
No, you may not.
Please?
We got rid of it along with all the other stuff.
Oh, shucks.
The staff has been carrying things out in shopping bags. And I don't want to appear ungrateful, but...
There's a limit, right?
Yes, there is. Ah. Handy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very handy.
Have you seen this chandelier?
Yes, I saw the chandelier.
That's quite unique. Oh, go look over there. There's a real treasure.
Oh.
They thought of everything.
Everything. I think you're going to have to junk most of this.
Oh, I think so. We're going to get some wonderful pictures on loan from the Smithsonian and the National Gallery. It's going to look great, finally.
What does Jack think about all this?
Oh, well, he's pleased, so long as it doesn't cost any money. I like to get the press to pay attention to the changes in the White House rather than poking around the children all the time.
Well, redecorating. It's a good diversion. You need diversions.
So, Admiral Burke, you're saying you feel you ought to have been involved in the planning of this CIA operation, is that right?
With respect, Mr. President, I believe that the CIA's excessive secrecy has prevented Mr. Bissell from seeking the most expert advice from other sources. Don't you think we can keep secrets, Mr. Bissell?
We have done you the courtesy of informing you.
Courtesy?
I am not a discourteous man.
Now, hold it.
I have no obligation whatever.
Take it easy, gentlemen. No quarreling here. Let's go on. So now, if we decide to land these men on the beach, what then? How many Cubans in Cuba do you think will join these freedom fighters?
We calculate the organized resistance to be upward of 3,000. But there may be as many as 20,000 who will join in.
Are those accurate figures?
Judging by the request for arms drops, I think you can rely on them.
Well, what I don't like now is that so many people know about a supposedly secret operation. In the meantime, do we go forward? Do we go back? What?
Are we voting? This must be a cabinet decision, and this is not the cabinet.
Well, I'm looking for a general consensus, I suppose.
Mr. President,
Senator Fulbright.
I am against any involvement in...
I understand that. I read your memorandum.
No, I must insist, as chairman of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, I have to tell you that we cannot morally sponsor an illegal invasion of Cuba. I suspect you're in doubt about it yourself.
Well, in order to be certain about anything, you first must face your own doubts. I'm facing mine. We're not only new to all this, we're new to each other. You realize with me from the Senate, you, Bob, from Detroit, and you from the Rockefeller Foundation, Dean, that we are the senior members of this team?
One thing that's undeniable about the new frontier. It sure is new.
Yes. So, gentlemen, what do you think?
Well, guerrilla operations I've been familiar with in China and Burma during the war suggest we don't stand a chance in Cuba.
Why didn't you say that before, Dean? I mean, why don't you speak up at the meetings and state your views more often?
I'm Secretary of State. I have a vote. One vote like all the others. Of all your advisors, I'm the most senior. I don't want my advice voted on. Informality is your style, sir. If I don't say much, it's because I'm loyal to you. I go with you, sir.
Okay. Bob?
I don't have much to add. My loyalty, like Dean's, is to you. You're having to support a disorganized operation.
Not unlike Ford Motor Company.
I was only there a week before you called me.
As president.
Even out of Detroit, this thing would be handled differently. We're having to rely on a bunch of guerrillas. Some of these guys are 70 years old, aren't they? Without American troops, it can't succeed.
You can't succeed with them.
That's my point. You're trapped.
So, why did you vote for it, Bob?
I'm voting for you.
You know, we're all in this together. Just, how much do you think we have to worry about?
A lot. We're talking about invasion. The decision is yours. You can go ahead or call it off. But get the timing right. You have to decide.
We are worrying. I've started grinding my teeth in my sleep. It's a bad sign when I start losing enamel.
Well, with what we've bitten off, it appears certain we're going to lose a lot more than just enamel.
We can't get out of it.
You've made a commitment that no American forces will be sent. You mustn't be shown to be a liar. I'm grinding my teeth, too. Only, if and when an invasion takes place, it just so happens I have a prior engagement in Rio.
Yeah, well, some of us are luckier than others. Yes.
Premier Fidel Castro is further called on to sever links with communism. The official statement calls Castro a repressive dictator who'll deliver Cuba to the Sino-Soviet bloc and a threat to the United States. We'll be back with a report from Miami after this.
Remember, only you can
There is a
prevent
law
forest
prohibiting both enlistment and recruitment for foreign military service. It's Title 18, U.S. Code, Section 958 to 962. It is also illegal for the United States to outfit any foreign naval vessel for service against friendly powers. So, I don't know. I mean, here we are in the first few months of defying the law. Now, what is our position? Can you tell me?
Around 6,000 personnel make up the Cuban Revolutionary Council dedicated to the liberation of Cuba.
It's getting out of hand already.
Meanwhile, training continues in Miami, Louisiana, and in Guatemala, suggesting that a military engagement against Castro's regime cannot be ruled out.
Did you tell the CIA that you could still back out of this?
Not yet, but I know I can.
I know you can, but do you want to?
I don't know what I want to do yet. Every intelligence report I've received so far assures me we can't lose, but I have my doubts. Did you read Senator Fulbright's brief?
No.
Listen to this. Where is it? Yes. To give this activity even covert support is of a piece with hypocrisy and cynicism, which the United States is constantly denouncing the Soviet Union, the United Nations, and elsewhere.
But what if we succeed?
We nail Castro.
What do we say to Fulbright? We all make mistakes.
We assume the responsibility for public order in Cuba. In the circumstances, this would unquestionably be an endless can of worms. The Castro regime is a thorn in the flesh, but it is not a dagger in the heart.
You write swell?
Yes.
Just make sure that you hold the CIA and the military fully responsible. See, that way you can stay above it.
What's the worst that could happen?
Only total war.
What are you going to do?
What would you do? You have an armed group of patriotic Cuban exiles screaming, "Cuba for the Cubans, down with Castro." You can't blame them. I hate to admit it, but I dislike the man enormously myself. You have a World War II-like operation planned by the CIA with Bissell's private army. On the one hand, you are in the spirit of freedom and righteousness, but in the eyes of the law, you're in the wrong. Did you ever hear such a contradiction? Maybe Nixon's right.
About what?
He advised me to find a proper legal cover and move in. Listen to this. Once President Eisenhower spent a full hour reviewing regulations about how Army restroom doors should open outwards and not inwards.
What was that?
So the soldiers could get out faster when the alarm sounded.
Maybe we should do that here with the doors in the White House.
Well, I'm not planning to make a quick exit, particularly from the bathroom. Well, I want you to get on it and get on it quickly and get back to me when you do. Thank you. Have you seen this, Pierre? Castro knows more about what's going on than I do. What good does it do to plan strategy if we're going to read about it in the newspapers? No one's briefing me, Pierre, no one.
Well, maybe we can make a TV station.
That's just what I want to avoid doing. It's incredible. I've blown it before we've even begun. I have to say that no Americans will be involved, that it's strictly a Cuban thing, and now I don't know.
Well, maybe we can call this guy.
No, it's too late now. How the hell did I ever let it get this far in the first place?
Thanks for the report. That's the way it works, huh?
Mr. President?
Yes.
Will you state that this invasion is in accordance with the United States?
What do you say about American involvement?
There won't be any.
Under any conditions?
He said that. He said the government can meet its requirements to make sure there are no Americans involved in Cuba.
You're quite sure he said that?
That's what he said.
All right. Thank you very much.
This concludes the President's statements at this time.
Afternoon. Oh, I like your hair, Ellen.
Oh, thank you.
I don't like these at all. You'll have to do a lot better than this.
Well, how about this?
Oh, it's too Hollywood.
On this?
That. It's too stupid looking.
Maybe we can have a press conference without photographers.
No, we did all that before. We had all those ladies in for tea. They sat there scribbling away, asking me questions like, why didn't I play canasta like Mamie did?
Well, at least they're interested. And they love Caroline, too. My God, they even love her pony.
Pierre, that's not the point, is it? I mean, they can love us as much as they like, but we don't have to like them back. Oh, come on. You can get them to write about somebody else for a change. Get them interested in those Cubans. Do the Castros sleep without pajamas? Do they smoke in bed?
The invasion brigade will capture the 3 enemy beaches. The paratroopers will take the swamp between the sea and the land.
How soon before Castro strikes back?
But we have a diversion about 300 miles away in the Oriente province, so Castro won't be sure what's hit.
Mr. Bissell, I'm asking when he will strike back.
Oh, we'll be ahead of him by 72 hours.
You mean so long as our infiltration remains inconspicuous?
That's right, Mr. President.
So, what about the Cuban Navy and the Cuban Air Force?
No efficiency. Their airplanes are out of date. Leadership, well, there isn't any.
They have some training planes, T-33s. We don't even rate them.
There's no way we can lose.
Yeah, I don't want these redecoration expenditures mentioned in public.
We have tried to keep them to a minimum, Mr. President.
Even so, it's an embarrassment. So much here about French furniture, French this and French that. This is the White House, not the French embassy.
Well, Mrs. Kennedy is convincing everyone that all this is an historic undertaking.
And are they convinced?
Well, they seem to be, Mr. President. They keep on coming back for more.
Yes, but steaming off wallpaper, redoing rooms that have already been done. The cost's fantastic, and I don't want it leaked.
It won't. She succeeded where the Eisenhowers didn't even fail. She's transformed the place.
Excuse me, Mr. President, we're very late.
Yes, Dave. I have to go to Glenora. And I want you to stay here, Pierre, and keep an eye on these stories. I don't want people to think that we're redecorating this place for our own personal comfort at the nation's expense. I might gain some interior decorators' votes, but they won't add up to much. I'll see you later, Pierre.
Thank you, Mr. President. Have a good game.
Thank you. Don't hit the Secret Service, Dave.
Where are they?
You're not supposed to know. Good shot, Dave. What's the news?
It's out of the bag.
What do you mean?
Cuban ambassador at the UN has accused us of invasion.
Invasion?
Now, you have to call Bissell. We can't authorize a second strike. Can't have the Cubans at the UN accusing us of bombing Cubans.
No. But, let's see how successful the first strike's been.
Now, you want to go back to Washington?
Not just yet. We'll have to carry on like normal.
Oh, the president playing golf?
Nice, reliable old man sport. We don't want to panic anyone. Hang on a second.
Good shot, Mr. President.
Thank you.
You have to go back there, Jack.
I know that, but let's just see how good the strike's been first. Maybe we can win it.
I'll believe that when I see it.
Yeah, me too. Contact Stevenson and keep him as informed as
possible.
Yes.
All right.
Thanks, Bob.
I'll be up there.
Yes. Oh, dear God. No. There will be no U.S. military involvement of any kind. I gave my word. That's right, General. All right, keep me informed. Thank you. Good night. We've blown it. Getting blown to hell on the beaches down there. It's all a mistake.
Oh, my God, that's awful. Jack, it isn't your fault.
Yes, it is. People are dying down there right now. I'm directly responsible.
It sounded so good at the start.
That's what I thought.
Whose idea was it anyway?
Dulles, Bissell.
Well, then make them admit it.
Not as easy as all that. You better go back to sleep. We'll have to leave early for Washington.
Where are the uprisings?
You tell me.
Well, aren't there any?
Not that I've heard of.
Well, what is Bissell doing? He doesn't say anything.
Neither does Dulles.
Was there any way out of it?
I can't find any, can you?
No.
I suppose those men on the beaches still think we're going to start an all-out war against Castro, and we won't. Nevertheless, I guess I can go down in history as the president quickest off the blocks to start a war, and the first president to ever lose one.
And we'll just make sure you tell Bissell it's the worst thing he ever did, and tell him in front of the others.
It's the worst thing I ever did.
Yeah, well, don't let the CIA off the hook. They started it. Make sure they dangle from their own rope.
Let's see, the White House bouquet room is to be called what it is, the flower room. I want 2 more Empire chairs in each of those guest rooms and the drinking fountain. I want the drinking fountain ripped out from the 3rd floor hall. Now it's about time. Oh, Mary, Caroline left her rag doll in Hyannis. Can you have it flown down? She misses it. And Betsy, tell the flower room, no more snapdragons, no more gladiolas. They look a little too funereal. I think that's all I have. What's next?
Okay, letters. You're getting about 300 a day, and you will love this one. It's addressed Your Highness.
Oh, no, you're kidding. Oh, no, it's Your Majesty. Your Majesty, my sister has a striking resemblance to your good person. In view of your husband's Irish ancestry, I humbly beg you to inform me if we are related in a family way. Your servant, Seamus O'Malley. Oh, isn't that sweet? Well, no, I don't think we are related. I don't think so, do you?
Let me see. No.
Your Majesty, do you believe that?
Yes.
They don't call Jack King.
No, but someone called him Saint.
Well, what does that make me? Is there anything else today?
There could be as many as 20,000 of Castro's troops moving against us.
What kind of troops?
Infantry.
How are they armed?
Tanks, artillery.
Mr. President, Pierre has a lot of newsmen in the West Wing.
Yes, well, he'll just have to tell them that the news is not encouraging.
Yes, sir.
Unless we move in, Mr. President, there are a lot of brave men down there.
Yes, I know.
We got to try to save them, sir.
I know.
Can we send in the Marines?
No, we cannot. Now, I want to know where those ammunition ships are.
We don't know.
What do you mean you don't know? You don't know if they've landed?
No, sir.
So those brave men down there have no ammunition, isn't that so?
Yes, sir. No, sir. There is an ammunition ship. We think some of the ammunition has been unloaded.
You think? How much?
Perhaps not enough. Not enough ammunition.
Obviously. Do you have any information, Mr. Dulles?
No, sir.
You know, of course, that Khrushchev has promised to help Castro.
Yes, sir. I hope Khrushchev doesn't know more than we do.
Well, I suspect he does.
Excuse me, Mr. President.
Yes, I know, Dave. I have to go now and host the congressional reception in that monkey suit. How appropriate. I want you to find out how many men have died on those beaches.
Yes, sir.
Keep your mouth shut and a smile on your face. That goes for all of you. I don't want anyone to know just how bad this thing really is. Sorry, Dave. So, when are these uprisings supposed to begin, Mr. Bissell?
I have no personal intelligence, Mr.
I'm
President.
not asking about your personal intelligence. I'm asking about the intelligence of the Central Intelligence Agency. What about that?
We need air cover, sir. Your authorization...
I told you at the beginning that no Americans would be involved, and you assured me it wouldn't be necessary. Now, I want to know, gentlemen, how many men have been killed, how many wounded, how many have been taken prisoner. We still don't have any idea just what the hell's going on down there. Or do we, Mr. Bissell?
I don't know, sir.
Well, find out! Let's talk about this beach, Admiral. Is it possible that an airstrike could still win that beach? I want the Navy to look into that. I want to know what's happening there.
There's a lot of fog down there.
Now, tell me what's going on.
There's fog?
You just said that, Admiral. Do something! I mean, my God, gentlemen, we're sitting around here like this while a lot of good men are being killed down there trying to retake their own homeland. Because we trained them, we armed them, and we led them to believe it was possible to do so. And there's one more thing we must consider here, gentlemen. We must consider who is responsible for this mess.
We could neutralize all of Castro's tanks with a destroyer.
General, I would not ask even one member of the United States Armed Forces to become involved in this ridiculous fiasco.
We are involved.
We have to go guerrilla.
We can't. The hills, the swamps, all that stuff. The geography is in the wrong disposition.
What the hell are you talking about, Mr. Bissell? Even if this geography were in the right disposition, how the hell can we expect them to become guerrillas when we can't even get them off the beach?
We have to have air cover, Mr. President.
All right. I am going to authorize the deployment of 6 unmarked jets from the Essex to fly cover. I repeat, to fly cover in defense of the B-26s.
That gets us further committed.
We are committed up to here, Mr. Secretary. And don't drown, Mr. Bissell. Well, let's see what happens next. I think that some of you should get back to the party. Well, as the man who said there would be no American involvement, I'll be shown up to be a liar, or I'll be shown up to be an aggressive bum. What's it to be?
The latter.
Aggressive bum.
That's right.
I agree.
What do you want us to do?
Well, if you have any ideas, Kenny, let me know. I might make you head of the CIA. A lot of those men on the beaches are going to get blown to hell, and Castro will take the rest. It's a catastrophe, total and complete failure.
Well, those guys have sat around and done nothing.
Neither have I. Besides losing a lot of lives, we've also lost trust and leadership around the world. It's my fault.
No, throw it where it started with the CIA.
I'm the president. I must take full responsibility, and I think you should seriously consider taking over at the CIA.
Not even you could persuade me to do that. Yes. It's Dad.
Thank you. Dad.
Lean on Bobby, Jack. I wouldn't give $100 for the CIA.
I should have called it off. We can't win.
You can't lose what you have. You can't lose the presidency.
Dad, we're on the edge of war.
Lean on the family, Jack. If you need me, I'll be down there on the first plane. Lean on Bobby. And don't crack in front of anyone except Jackie. Don't let Bobby see that.
I don't know who to trust.
Give me Bobby.
All right, thanks, Dad. Let's talk to you.
Don't leave Jack alone. Stay right with him. There'll be another day to knock the stuffing out of Castro.
Okay. Thanks, Dad. Good night.
$114 men are dead. This thing got started with the Eisenhower administration, but that doesn't make any difference. Nobody's going to trust the Kennedy administration now. I should have known better. My God, who wouldn't have listened to a combination of the Joint Chiefs and the CIA?
Jack, put your head down. I gotta get some sleep. It's very late. I mean, at least they haven't invaded us.
Might have been easier if they had. There is a old saying that victory has 100 fathers, but defeat is an orphan.
What, Mr. President, are the casualties in this defeat?
Well, I realize and I grieve that 114 men have been killed, 1,189 men being held prisoner in Cuba, and another 150 wounded have been returned.
Mr. President, who, Mr. President, is responsible for this defeat?
Well, I am the responsible officer of the government. It's obvious, and as such, I bear sole responsibility. I've stated on many occasions, and I restate now. Mine is the responsibility. I'm strongly opposed to anyone within or without this administration attempting to shift responsibility from this sobering episode. Many lessons for all of us to learn. Forces of communism are not to be underestimated in Cuba or anywhere else in the world. So there was no legal justification, is that right?
That's right. I believe Mr. Nixon said...
Mr. Nixon is not a man without ideas, but not even Mr. Nixon can tell me how the hell I'm supposed to get 1,189 prisoners out of Castro's jails. So, gentlemen, I don't think you can stay on the first team any longer, do you? I mean, so soon after coming in here, I can't be expected to fire the Joint Chiefs who approved it. I must look beyond those to the ones that invented it, unless I'm to go myself. But I think the inventors have to go, don't they?
Yes, sir, but you approved it.
Mr. President, I'd like to take full responsibility.
I've already done that, Mr. Dulles. I think it's time for us to call it a day. It was either them or me.
They knew that.
I'd still like you to keep an eye on the CIA.
Don't have trouble with that.
What sort of trouble?
I'll be more powerful than you.
I'm afraid you're right.
Jack, I've got to find a way to get those men out of jail.
Good news, Mr. President. The first polls are wonderful. You did very well.
Yeah, thank you, Mrs. Lincoln. I'm glad someone thinks so. Oh, by the way, Mrs. Lincoln, there was a whole half chicken in the refrigerator last night. It's gone now. See if you can find out what happened to it, please.
Find out what happened to the chicken.
Yes.
Very well, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mrs. Lincoln.
Now, listen. Listen, I think we found a way of getting those prisoners out of Castro's hands.
Let's have it.
Well, there's a New York lawyer who's representing the prisoners' families, a guy named Donovan. Now, he's asking for our support for face-to-face negotiations with Castro in Cuba.
Maybe that's the best way to go about it. Let's check him out.
No, I have. He's okay. He's even donated his services. But he's warning us that any deal with Castro could be expensive.
You can't expect Castro to just give him back.
No, of course not. Tell Donovan he has our complete support. We'll do everything possible to make it work.
Fine.
But make sure he understands that we are not at liberty to make an official deal with Cuba.
Okay, we'll keep it all unofficial.
Very well, Bobby. This could turn the whole thing around. Maybe we can salvage something out of this mess after all.
Well, it's a start.
See, things are looking up already.
Yes, just like Eisenhower. The worse I do, the more popular I get.
Did you see a girl leave?
I'm not paid to look at broads.
You're paid to look at everything. If you didn't, okay, who did see her?
No names, no faces, no trouble. So, there's a friend of a friend who says that Hoover knows more than we did?
Naturally.
All I heard was a name.
And?
I don't know anymore.
Hoover knows the president's playing around?
Well, who wants to know that?
Who doesn't? Jackie, for one.
I'm going to be in Washington, Jack. I can make the usual time. I'll really look forward to it, Jack.
Hear this.
I'll really look forward to it, Jack.
I want transcripts of that statement of intent and your commentaries on the meaning of that statement in full. It, interpretation, a view of the morality of that word. It. I have my view. We have a president that is morally diseased. His conduct, if known, would be unacceptable in this nation. My vision of duty is not the same as his, and I'm going to prove that my vision is right by doing my duty. He's in danger of losing a great deal more than the Bay of Pigs.